How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the review. Today we're going to be going over Hunter Holy War. Now, this book is really a book about being a Middle Eastern hunter. So, we'll get underway now that you understand the concept of this book. The first part starts with a, introduction in a very, very hard to read font. It's all written in this. You can't actually see that because of the light. It's written in this kind of Arabic cursive, so it's harder to read than, well, I think the hardest one to read was Vampire of the Dark Ages. That text was a pain in the ass to read. So, I don't actually think I even read all through that. I just kind of got bored of trying to translate. That's not written in Arabic, but might as well have been. So, we get the introduction, the prologue. I actually really like the prologue for this one. It's about two hunters, and one of them finds out the other one's actually a vampire. And he has to kind of go and, he's got to kill his brother and his friend. So, I don't think they're attacking Israel at the same time. I think they are snipers in Israel. I think they're Palestinian in Israel, about to attack an Israeli convoy, finding out it's vampires. So, it's pretty interesting. But, we get the purpose, source material, blah. And the first one is really the culture of the Middle East, and really how it works. Going over the religion, as it's very big in that region. Political geography, going over Bahrain, Egypt, Iran, Iraq. Where else? Going over a lot apparently for Iraq, Israel, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and that's it. And a little bit in Jordan, every now and then. So, right there you get a good overview of what, these regions of the world for if you were writing a backstory, or if you wanted to run one there. The next one, By His Breath. By the way, all of these have Middle Eastern Quran-styled chapter headings. Here we get kind of like a little bit about the hunters, which are called Kishwa. I believe that's actually all. Kishwa is the hunters. And we kind of get a little bit about them because unlike in Hunter the Reckoning, given this is Hunter the Reckoning, but whereas hunters in the West would kind of view it as you're just given this power by some higher entity, or, maybe you just manifested it, whatever, really, however your storyteller presents it to you. The Middle East, they view it as a gift from Allah. And, so the entire book plays to that idea that it really is Allah that has given them this power. And so they're all very devoted. So we get their code, things like that. We just kind of get essentially what we had in Hunter the Reckoning. What is a hunter, imbuing, blah, blah, blah. Only told from the idea that is given to you from Allah. The next one is, what is this one? It's more on it. How you would hunt, how you'd play in this area of the world. And it's kind of brief. Then it goes into more game mechanic styles for it. How the virtues work, and I believe they're all renamed. There's aspiration, there's clemency, aspiration, and fervor. So, nothing really different, but they're just trying to give new names to flavorful things. We get an organization called the Band of 40, which does not actually just have 40, but it's explained that for them in the Arab world, 40 could be used just to represent many. So it's the Band of 40 because there's just really no reason to count. We get how you would do things for a cross-boundary group. You know, Israeli and a Saudi and an Iranian and an Egyptian, or, you know, a Saudi Arabian, an Egyptian, a Brit, a Frenchman, a Chinese, and an American, and how you kind of do all that. It goes a little bit more into, you know, the end times on that end too. Then it goes into how you'd role play a Kishwa, because Kishwa are different from hunters in a couple of ways. Obviously, culture. They actually get to follow different rules too. One of them is that they can speak. I believe it is they can speak to each other through a system of conviction being spent into certain items, like holy books in a mosque. Like essentially holy sites from holy site, they can communicate. So it really plays up to that entire idea of Allah. Their creeds got renamed. No game mechanic there, just flavor. It went into stamina. They actually follow certain things like stamina. I believe they have to have at least 2 dots to stamina in excess of the one you receive automatically. So you begin to have to pay for those special rules. Your appearance is also a little bit different. You know, you get a +1 social role difficulty when dealing with foreigners who are not of Arab descent, essentially, or Middle Eastern. Intimidation, you'll take penalties on if you're intimidating a foreigner. However, if you're a foreigner intimidating an Arab, you do have to follow these same rules too. Expression, I believe you have to have, most of the time you have to have one. Streetwise works complete, has an entire column of new stuff. Driving, you get a -1 if you're trying to, -1 to your die pool, I believe, if you are trying to drive in a Western area. If Westerners try to drive in the Arab world, same problem. Firearms. This is where I disagree with it, because it says that Middle Eastern hunters should never start with more than 1 dot in firearms, because guns are kind of not allowed in the majority of the area. So it essentially says Middle Eastern natives can only start with a maximum of 1, including the freebie points spent. The only thing that can up it is experience. I think that's utter bullshit. So that's the really first thing that I really had a problem in this book with. Same thing when they did Arsenal. You know, you're not supposed to have guns. I was like, really? You know, Americans aren't supposed to have automatic rifles. You know, in Hunter the Reckoning, we can get all kinds of crap. Fame, contacts, those don't really change too much. Influence and resources. They had to, I believe it was your influence cannot exceed your wits plus resources, because the Arab world, to gain influence, it's a mixture of wisdom and money. So that was pretty cool. The edges, I believe, are all the same. There might have been maybe 1 or 2 new ones. I don't really think there was. It goes into how to use the word. It also goes into Hal Hait, which are holy sites, or just sites in general, that somehow monsters are warded off. So that was pretty cool. This idea that you know, monsters can't enter certain holy sites on certain time periods, or just certain places in general. So that was a pretty nice addition. And then it went into how to run in the Middle East. Oh, sorry. This part's, I have to flip through. My book actually has like 30 pages that were copied over into the next section. So it's like, it has like, it follows a normal thought, and then all of a sudden it has 30 of the same pages that you saw 15 pages ago. again. So it's actually not the first time it happened. It happened again in my Werewolf the Wild West book. It's like page 96 to what is it? 96 to like 112. You know, all over this again. So right here, the next thing is the secret police, which the hunters, because they're more based in a law, they're more commonly accepted. So they're secret police, you know, people who view hunters, so, and they kind of know about it. We get a little bit of information on the jinn and the Amalekites, the Aditas. I'm really bad at pronouncing Arab words. We get some creatures, then we get 3 sample characters that you can kind of get an idea for and play in your game. So, I know it wasn't much, but it's kind of hard to figure out what to hit on in this. But ultimately, if you are interested in the Middle East as a setting, or if you wanted your characters or a set of characters to come from the Middle East, I highly recommend this book because it does have a lot of information for playing in the Middle East. However, if you do not have any interest in it, it really won't be worth your time because there's nothing else. There's nothing really worth salvaging except Middle East oriented stuff. So if that's what you like, it's awesome buy. I thought it was great. I'm interested in that stuff. But if you're not, it really isn't worth picking up. So until next time, have a good one.